yes, attorney on.
City attorney.
It's not on my calendar.
Do we know the procedure?
We don't need them right now. Welcome everyone to the City Council meeting for the City of Evans for June 4th, 2019. My name is Brian Rudy, I'm the mayor. I'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Rudy.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Mortensen. Here. Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Spear.
Here.
Councilmember Castle.
Here.
Councilmember Neal.
Present. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address City Council on any item not on the agenda this evening? Please step up to the podium, state your name and address. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Richard Wiest, 4525 65th Avenue. I just had a question on Peakview. Is that, when do I have to get involved again? Or I'm the neighbor to the south of
Yeah,
Peakview?
you're the farm to the south, yes, sir.
Yes.
So what is your question?
When
will it be
is it
back
gonna,
in front of us again?
Yeah, come up again.
Jim? Do
Yes,
you know when
Mayor.
that'll be back up
I
on
can
our
answer.
agenda?
We're, I believe on schedule for, is it July or August? It'll be the August, probably the first city council meeting in August will be when the council will consider the final plat and also the development agreement. There are lots of details being worked out at this stage, and so this one just takes a little longer.
Okay.
But you haven't missed anything yet. On
Okay,
that.
well, I haven't heard anything, so I thought I'd check.
And Jim, can we get Mr. Oisa's, do you have his number? That way we can reach out to you when we do have a firm date
Oh,
for
yes.
that. Would that work for you?
Yes, that'd be wonderful.
Sure.
Yes.
Staff has that contact.
Okay, if you'll just make a note and reach out to him when that is coming up on the agenda. So.
Yep.
And then, just as a follow-up, I talked to them once about a fence, and they haven't really followed up.
Okay.
And they really didn't, say, meet, I would say, the needs that, plus they want part of my land now to put the fence on.
Okay. That'd be something we'd have to work out.
Through in this,
Right,
at
that's
this
not
time.
something
So
would
it's
have
a good
came to us,
time to
but
bring
we
that up.
can bring that up too.
So that will not be too late to bring that up in the August?
Correct.
Okay, that's,
We should resolve that on the way to August.
okay. Because I realize it's a lot of planning and
Sure,
stuff like this.
absolutely.
Yes. All right, well, thank you.
Great questions. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address City Council on any item not on the agenda? All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Change. We need to add item E under new business, a public hearing continuance of the first reading on ordinance 698-19. Which
Can you say that one more time?
It's ordinance 698-19, which will amend and reorganize portions of Title 18, the Land Development Code.
Great, thank you.
And the reason for council, the reason this is coming to your agenda now is that it's actually going to be recommended for continuance based on planning commission action at their last meeting. We did realize though that it had been advertised for public hearing at this meeting. So even though there's no action for council's consideration tonight, and when we get there, you'll hear staff recommend continuation. We did need to place it on your agenda so that a public hearing can take place as advertised.
Great, thank you. That wouldn't be a.
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item 6, consent agenda. Item A, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 21st, 2019. Item B, consideration of ordinance number 697-19 and ordinance approving the 2019 budget first revision, second reading. Item C, consideration of ordinance number 699-19, an ordinance adding section 2.52.080I of the Evans Municipal Code and granting the Planning Commission authority to act as the zoning board of appeals under certain circumstances. Item D, consideration of resolution number 15-2019, a resolution establishing current officers of the City of Evans as signatories in the Colorado Water Resources and Power Development Authority loan agreement.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item 7, new business, consideration of appointment of Zachariah Madison to the Evans Water and Sewer Board. And we will hear from staff. Zachariah.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, members of the council. As council knows, we've been working to recommend to you appointments where we have vacancies to our boards and commissions. We've been trying to bring those all to you in a concerted way. However, a couple of them, particularly the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Planning Commission alternates, are taking a little longer than we had envisioned. The Water and Sewer Board had conducted or did conduct interviews in April for a new to fill the vacancy on the Water and Sewer Board. So that's what we have for you tonight. We wanted to bring this one forward and get this appointment seated, if that's the council's will. So tonight, we do have the Water and Sewer Board recommendation to appoint Zach Matson to the Water and Sewer Board. Zach presented qualifications in the form of his application to the board. You have that in your packet, so I won't read through it, but Zach is a resident of Evans with experience in several different areas, including his homeowners association leadership. And so that's all those experiences have given him what the board thought was the right experience for the Water and Sewer Board. So with that, Mayor, that's the recommendation for council's consideration.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. And I know Zach is here in the audience. Zach, you're under no obligation to come up and tell us a little about yourself, but you're more than welcome to step up to the podium. Let us know a little about you.
No problem.
I know you don't. For the record, I will just note that I have known Zach for about 25 years, so.
Part of I was in FRs all day in the field, helping our wireline truck that was shorthanded. So I went out and got dirty, which I don't get to do very often. And normally, most people would be like, man, I was kind of, oh yeah, let's go play in the dirt. At 5:30, I cut loose south of Platteville, ran to the office, got my truck, ran home, got showered, and this was the closest thing. I've lived in Evans a long time. I used to live across from the Evans School, which is no longer there. To go to college, and you guys were talking about Ames programs and stuff. I went through the EMS and EMSI program, EMTI program, and all that stuff at Ames, and as well with UNC, which was as Jim, poor Jim. I know Jim because we had some problems out in Neville's Crossing with the non-potable water, and then everybody wanted to be not part of the city anymore. And thanks to Jim's help, I got to sit down and logically tell everybody how stupid that was. So they were like, "Oh, it's going to be really expensive." I'm like, "Yeah, you basically think the plows don't see us now. Just wait." And we get a lot of snow out there, obviously, because we live next to Mr. Reed's cornfield, and it blows around bad out there. So I've done a lot of that. I do business development in the community. Lately, mostly it's been for the oil field. Started my career working for Ford Motor Company at Garnsey and Wheeler Ford downtown at the old store, and then ended up down at Formby running that entire back end of that store for 9 years. Covenant Testing Technologies, I was the 5th person in the whole company, and I think there's 495 of them now. So, do a lot of business here. I'm very proud to be here. I live out in Neville's Crossing. I plan to stay there. Blows me away. But, if you have any questions, I'm open to whatever, but
Okay.
That's me in a nutshell.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you.
I would like to say I've known, like I just said, I've known Zach for 20, 25 years, somewhere in there, and the Water and Sewer Board would be very lucky to have him. He is somebody that's dedicated, he cares, he'll be there, and when he gets his mind onto something, he will work hard at it to accomplish it. So I fully support Zach, and we'd be lucky to have him.
Thank you for your interest.
Yes.
And
Well, like I said, I talked to Brian, and I basically said, okay, I've lived here long enough. It's time to actually be a part of the community. So.
And that's great too, because you have, history, and those 5 years will definitely be a great asset to the committee, so
Yeah, I got to
thank
read in
you.
'92 to go to college. Yeah. And stayed all my life as a dad built power plant. So I've lived in Rhode Island, I've lived in Texas, been
I'm part Dominican, so yes.
If there's not anything else, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to appoint Zachariah Matson for a term to expire on June 30th, 2022 to the Evans Water and Sewer Board.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to appoint Zachariah Madison, hold on, for a term to expire on June 30th, 2022 to the Evans Water and Sewer Board. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Every time you guys say Zachariah, it freaks me out.
I saw it on here, and that's why I was
I
like,
wanted to make it
Zachariah.
official,
No
so.
wonder when you said that, you're like, Zachariah.
My daughter, she's like, Zachariah.
I didn't middle name you, it's okay.
That would have been real trouble. That would have been running out of the room.
Thank you, Zach. Next item. Item B, consideration of award of bid 2019 concrete replacement project, and we'll hear from staff.
Thanks, Mayor. This is one of the components of our annual pavement management program. That's $600,000. That's broken into several different components, with the asphalt being one, and the crack sealing, and there are several other components. But we have $175,000 in this year's budget of that larger amount for concrete replacement. And I'll ask Assistant City Manager Randy Reedy to just give a brief overview of the process and the bids and the result and recommendation.
As Jim mentioned, this is the third of the five. More components that you'll see. Overlay programs and some chip sealing. And then the final component of that is some concrete patching in selective areas that we'd like to propose for you to approve. But as far as the concrete is concerned, this is a $175,000 budget. Primarily consists of replacing curb and gutter in areas where the curb and gutter is badly damaged, allowing water to seep under and damaging the asphalt and concrete underneath. A limited amount of ADA curb ramps, and even further limited amount of sidewalk replacements. We did go out to bid for this project. 2 bids were opened back in May, one from Northern Colorado Concrete and the other from Mountain Constructors. Northern Colorado Concrete was the winner by a substantial amount, almost $100,000. They, especially once they realized that they had submitted some incorrect numbers in their bid tab. Those numbers were corrected, and it lowered their actual bid amount to that $155,953. So we are recommending your approval of that contract for that amount of $155,953 plus $19,467 for a 15% contingency to complete this concrete replacement work.
Questions of staff?
I have none.
I have no questions.
Do we usually do a 15% contingency, or is that just because that number equaled out to what the total was gonna be?
It's typical.
Typical.
And in this case, will allow us to do some minor additions as we go
Okay.
along. If they need to go over what the units, the amounts that were specified, we've got the unit prices. So if we need to add 10 feet here and there, we can do
I
it.
knew we always did a contingency, I just used to think, I always thought they were at 10%.
10's more common for us.
Okay.
I would, if I could, I guess, ask or just clarify, we would live within the $175,000
Yeah.
budget
Yeah.
here.
At 15, that's why I was asking.
Right, the contractor bid at the quantities that we put in the bid documents. Since the bid came in lower than the budget, we'll work within those unit costs up to the $175,000 budget.
Right.
to get as much work done as we can, but
Yep.
we're not envisioning any contingency over that.
Sure.
That budget.
Yep, no, I was just used to the 10%, that's
Utilize
why
the
I
budget
asked.
wisely and fully. So.
Other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to award the 2019 concrete replacement project contract to Northern Colorado Concrete Incorporated and authorize the mayor's signature on an agreement not to exceed $175,000.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to award the 2019 concrete replacement project contract to Northern Colorado Concrete and authorize the mayor's signature on an agreement in the amount not to exceed $175,000. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item C, consideration of award of construction contract Ashcroft Draw Sewer Line Replacement Project. I'll turn it back to you.
This is an item that we'll be glad to move forward on with council's direction tonight. This is a rather important repair, given where it is, and I'll ask Assistant City Manager Randy Reedy to give an overview of the need and then the recommendation on the contractor for the repair.
Yes, as Jim mentioned, this is an important project. This is a project I started hearing about, I think, during my recruitment, and I've heard about it almost every day in the 6 months since. So it's a project in dire need, replacing the sewer line that goes over the Ashcroft Draw on the south side of 49th Street. It was damaged several years ago in a vehicle accident and has deteriorated since then. Was further damaged in the flood of the May of 2017 that washed away some of the under support. So we're very pleased / relieved to be able to bring this to you. We want to get on with this as quickly as possible with your permission. We did do a RFP, request for proposals for demolition and reconstruction of the aerial sewer line. It's about 116 or so feet crossing the Ashcroft Draw, including the 2 connecting manholes on either side, using a 12-inch cast iron carrier pipe and a 24-inch steel casing pipe. So that casing pipe's purpose is to further protect it, and because it is larger, it will allow that carrier pipe to grow if needed in the future. We did receive 2 bids for this project, one for $269,000 and one for $239,820. The $239,820 bid from Claystone Construction, based out of Fort Lupton, is our proposed contractor to you. Their bid is below the engineer's estimate of $275,000, so we'd like to proceed with them. The funding for this was in the first quarter budget approval budget revision that you just approved on the consent calendar tonight. It included the $290,000 carry forward from last year to this year for sewer line maintenance. So with that in mind, we are recommending the $239,820 and a contingency amount of $35,973, which is 15% in this case for some subsurface conditions that we're not quite sure of, to bring the total amount to $275,793.
Questions of staff?
I just have a question. I'm great with getting this repaired and fixed. But in the financial summary, it states that $300,000 for last year's sewer line maintenance budget was not used. I just question why we aren't using that to maintain our sewer lines.
We are. There was a $10,000 draw, and this project was anticipated, but we're just now getting to it.
Okay, and what I'm just saying is if we budget $300,000 a year for sewer line maintenance, I would surely like to see it used every year to maintain, instead of it carrying over from one year to the other. I'd like to see.
Understood.
Councilmember Spear, one of the things that impacted that program last year, we had been using this for slip lining of many of our older sewer lines where that treatment is appropriate. Last year, and I knew this prior to Randy's arrival when I was working more directly with that staff, given the opening of the new wastewater treatment plant, there was not as much maintenance that they could get done. This was one of the programs that was cut way back for last year, so they didn't use that slip lining money for last year. Their maintenance was less.
Are you saying that we used the personnel on the wastewater treatment, and
all
therefore they
hand-
couldn't,
Correct.
Okay.
There was maintenance done, but we didn't
Alright.
do this slip lining program that they had been doing
With-
for the past several years because it was pretty much all hands on deck launching that new plant last year.
okay, so now we're gonna have all hands on deck, and we're gonna start,
Even more
back
on the
with
field, yes.
with maintenance, because, I mean, if you don't maintain things, they just get more run down, so, if we can keep that up, that'd be great.
Absolutely, and just as a reminder, with your approval, we did proceed with some other Ashcroft Draw sewer line repairs this winter that were badly needed, some exposed pipe to the north of this project, so
Great,
that used a big chunk of this year's funding as well.
thank you.
Jim or Randy, either one of you happen to know, was the city able to collect any insurance money from the person that hit this with their automobile?
I'm not
I don't know.
aware that we have, Councilmember Neal.
Is there any way to check on that, if the
We can check
person had insurance, because they should be paying it, yet if they hit it and damaged it, we should be collecting from their insurance company.
Yes, we will
We'll check on it.
check on that and get back to you on that.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Councilmember Neal on that. I was actually thinking the same thing when I was reading that. I mean, if it was caused by a vehicle accident, there should be some type of insurance payment out for that. That shouldn't come completely out of the taxpayers' money to fund that full project.
I agree. I agree as well. I think we should definitely look into that and see how that plays a factor in this project.
Any other questions or comments? I do agree, we need to look at the insurance, but I think we need to get it fixed now.
I
agree with that as well.
Absolutely, I'm not saying stop the project.
I know you're not, Fred, yeah.
Yeah.
If there are no other questions or comments, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to award Ashcroft Draw Sewer Line Replacement Project Construction Contract to Claystone Construction Incorporated in the amount of $239,820 with a not to exceed amount of $275,793 and to authorize the mayor's signature on the contract.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to award the Ashcroft Draw Sewer Line Replacement Project construction contract to Claystone Construction, Inc. in the amount of $239,820 and with a not to exceed amount of $275,793 and authorize the mayor's signature on the contract. All those in favor, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item D, consideration of resolution number 14-2019, resolution authorizing the sale of city property according to the city asset disposal property. We'll hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor. The city's vehicle replacement criteria or plan attempts to balance the condition of a vehicle, the age of the vehicle, the mileage on the vehicle, and the repair costs that the city is incurring on a vehicle. The police department, along with the fleet maintenance staff, has identified one of our vehicles, a 2013 Dodge Charger, as appropriate for a surplus at this time. Just this vehicle has had significant repairs needed with the thought of more to come. It did sustain severe hail damage last year. It's also one of the Chargers that the city has been trying to move away from as we are able to replace vehicles. It is underpowered for the models that we're using and the needs that we have now. So this is kind of a antiquated model for us in terms of the standards that we have now. Our policies do require us to obtain, some fair market value for vehicles when they are surplused. The research on this one is that there's an estimated value of approximately $4,000 based on the NADA pricing guidelines, and our mechanic has also supported that value. Our policy allows for sale at auction or for that fair market value, selling it to another party. In this case, the police departments are often talking with each other about potential needs for vehicles from cities who aren't able to keep up on their fleets. In this case, the city of Monte Vista is interested in purchasing this vehicle, and that would be our recommendation for disposition with council's direction on this item. So that concludes our remarks, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Questions of staff?
Yep. If this police vehicle is so damaged and beat up for us, why are we selling it to Monte Vista? I mean, I'm all for helping out another police station, but are we giving them a problem? I mean, why are we selling it if it sounds like it's pretty much a wreck?
Right, I had a similar question for our police, and we do look more at that cost of ownership and cost of maintenance. Some departments aren't able to look as closely at that. So there's been full disclosure of the vehicle condition to the Monte Vista department, and some departments have to operate where they are acquiring used vehicles from other departments that may have higher maintenance costs.
So are they sending someone up or a tow truck or whatever to transport this? I mean, we're not gonna be selling it for $4,000 and spending our staff time delivering it too?
I would ask our Commander Reyes. I believe I know the answer to your question, but I would ask Commander Reyes to
I'd hate to
speak
have
to
it
the
broke down
logistics of
somewhere
that.
between here and Monte Vista, and then we've got more expenses.
No, ma'am, the logistics of the deal will be, they'll be responsible for
Okay.
coming down to get it, and they have been down and seen the vehicle. So they'll come down either with a trailer or whatnot to transport it up to their area.
And again, I mean, I'm all for helping out other departments and kind of, having a nice relationship with other entities. I just didn't want to be dumping on some, a problem for them. And I had another comment, but I'll let somebody else carry on there.
I think my question would be along the same lines as Councilwoman Spear. If the vehicle does have such significant damage and we are selling it to them, I don't have a problem with that. I work with several municipalities, I understand that, but have we considered donating it to them? I mean, if it's not a huge
I'm against that, because we
cost-
donated,
I
we
just don't
donated
know.
to Kersey, and if we can get some monetary value out of it,
If it's gonna
I'd
cost
rather
them
see
so much.
monetary value,
It was-
sorry for cutting you off.
And this
Okay.
was just prior to my start, but I do know that the city council has had significant discussion and reinforced our policy to require that the community should get some fair market value for our assets when we dispose of them. So that's where this recommendation is coming from.
I struggle with a fair market value of 4,000 though, if the estimated value is 4,000, but there's so many repairs attached to it.
It's including the 4,000, because these are like, what, $50,000, $60,000 originally?
That's with everything you're saying.
That would be,
Okay,
that would be set up with all the police equipment and whatnot, which have been stripped out of this vehicle. It doesn't have rear seats, the dashboard is ripped out of it, and that's in an auction setting, also the 4,000.
thank you.
Other questions or comments?
Jim, did we get any insurance recovery on the hail damage on this vehicle or Commander? You know?
Sure, I would ask no, we did not, Commander. Commander, here's the answer. No, we did not.
Is there a particular reason for that, Dan, or? Yeah,
There was just not a claim filed on it as the vehicle was due to be rotated out of the fleet. So there was not a claim filed on it.
So I'm assuming it might have reached the total condition, and we'd have to go through all that hassle with the retitle and all that stuff.
Yes, sir.
I understand that stuff completely. It's a mess. Okay. Thank you.
Other questions or comments?
None.
Councilwoman Castle, I agree with you. I think if, this thing was worth $800, $1,000, they were gonna have to take it, put a lot of money into it just to get it to run, I'd be more than happy to say, here, take it. But $4,000 is $4,000, and most of these officers' cars, yeah, they get beat up, but it's mostly just about miles. You guys are driving it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So I think the depreciation on a lot is miles, and if somebody's willing to take the car with that many miles and some dings on it, we can make, a little bit of money back to help offset the cost of the new one they're gonna get. I'm all for it.
Right, I agree with
I
that.
agree.
Any other questions or comments?
Are we allowed to make comments?
Absolutely.
Councilman.
You gotta step up to the podium now.
Sorry. I've worked for service departments for 17 years. Saw a lot of officers' vehicles. The demographic in which they're getting this vehicle, this helps.
I'm aware, I know.
Yeah, 4,000
Yep.
people.
I've been
But
there.
That particular vehicle that he's looking to
Yeah.
offload, I personally know from expert experience with service departments that they are extremely hard after about 5 years to maintain. They will gobble your money down like it's one out of style. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah,
They-
that's what I'm worried
Thank
about,
you for
that
that
they are gonna
information.
gobble Monte Vista's.
Correct, but they won't,
Money
because their demographic is so much smaller,
Yeah.
they're gonna put not even, I wouldn't even imagine a
Yeah.
tenth of the miles these folks are gonna put on. And the big deal on those vehicles is front end parts and brakes. And racing from one end of their town to another is not gonna.
Right.
No, but thank you for your insight, because that gives, gives us a picture of what that looks
Well,
like.
again, it literally is a demographic
Right.
deal. If they had a $25,000 population or something, yeah, I have a little moral issue with that as well.
You'll probably find, I ask a lot of mechanical questions. I mean, I'm not only from the agricultural, but my husband has been a mechanic and
Yeah.
in the trucking industry for a long time. So I tend to ask a little bit more questions
Absolutely.
regarding that.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
If there are no other comments or questions, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve resolution number 14-2019.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 14-2019. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item, item E, added to the agenda this evening.
Commander. Sorry.
Thank you.
Item E, added to the agenda this evening is public hearing number 698-19. And I will open the public hearing and hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor. This item, as we mentioned in the agenda approval part of the meeting, received some presentation and consideration from the Planning Commission at its last meeting. Because it had been scheduled for their consideration, we also scheduled it so we could follow up quickly for council's consideration. The Planning Commission denied that item. So at this time, we don't need consideration of this item from the council. Staff wants to further the discussion with the Planning Commission about the need for the code changes, and that those could come back to you at your July 2nd meeting.
2nd.
So council, we would request continuation to the July 2nd city council meeting. That step will allow us to not have to re-advertise that now at this point, if you choose to continue it.
Thank you, Jim. While this is a public hearing, before we choose to continue it, I am opening up to the public if there is anyone that came tonight on this issue and like to speak on it. Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to continue ordinance number 698-2019 to the July 2nd council meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to continue public hearing 698-19 to July 2nd, 2019. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item 8, report, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just two things from me this evening. We have been working with our contractors in some of our capital projects regarding schedule due to the extensive rain that we've been having. While the rain has not been always sustained for long periods, it's been just enough on most days to where they're not able to pick up where they were the day prior and keep moving. The most significant impact that I just want to certainly mention for the public and for the council is that the 35th Avenue project, widening project, that had been scheduled for completion mid-June, due to the weather and also some unanticipated soft soils issues that have to be mitigated. Those two issues have really driven that project's calendar to be delayed to probably a July 15 completion. So that's where we are with that project. So we're updating those timelines and all of our communications to residents. So that's one item. And then second, I just want to remind council that we have two public meetings scheduled on the topic of potential retail cannabis sales in Evans. These meetings we're trying one in the morning this time. We've actually had some interest, some verbalized interest in a morning meeting as opposed to an evening meeting. So we have the first one this Thursday, June 6th, from 7:30 to 8:30 a.m., kind of a before work or early in the day option. And then June 11th, which is the following Wednesday, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. The first meeting, June 6th, will be held here in the Cottonwood Room at this facility. The June 11th meeting at 6 p.m. will be held at the Golden Room at the Riverside Library and Cultural Center. So those have been pretty heavily advertised, and we're looking forward to getting some feedback on the potential policy parameters that we heard from council. That's all I have, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Just briefly, the Colorado Municipal League Conference will be in Breckenridge, June 18th to 21st. So Jim and myself will be up there, and a couple other members of staff, I believe. And then we have an update on some pending litigation for you, but we'll bring that to you in executive session.
Thank you, Dan. Next item on the agenda is audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address City Council on any item? Seeing none, I will entertain. Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, we talked earlier, I think item B for executive session is off.
Correct. We do have to have that change that I neglected to tell our clerks. So.
Okay, no problem. Then I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I move to go into executive session to receive legal advice and discuss matters that may be subject to negotiation, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators involving the city's pending Eastwood Village litigation pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, Section B, subsection E, and to discuss matters involving employees and organizational structure update pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, subsection 4, subsection B.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to go into executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Zach, great to see you. Looking forward to working with you.
See you, bye.